dust hits your tongue before the thirst does. 6 hours into the Sonoran Desert with an empty canteen, saliva production drops to a trickle and your mouth turns into a friction chamber. Cottonmouth isn't a phrase, it's a mechanical fact. Your salivary glands read the drop in blood volume and shut down non-essential secretion to protect the organs that matter. 2 liters gone. That's roughly what an adult body loses through sweat and respiration in a single scorching afternoon of walking. Your blood plasma thins first, the watery component that carries everything else through your veins. Thinner plasma means your heart works harder to push the same volume of oxygen to your muscles. Heart rate climbs, not from exertion, from compensation. Here's the question your brain throws at you around hour 8. Why does sweat taste salty if you're losing water? Sweat carries sodium and chloride out through your pores along with the water, and as dehydration deepens, your body starts rationing that sodium too, which is why late-stage sweat often tastes less salty than early sweat. Your kidneys are hoarding minerals like a bank freezing withdrawals. Back to the timeline. By hour 12, urine output nearly stops. Dark amber, concentrated, a warning signal from kidneys running on a skeleton crew of fluid. This is the point of no return for casual thirst. What started as mild discomfort becomes a systemic emergency your organs are actively negotiating. Your kidneys filter roughly 180 liters of blood a day under normal conditions. Without water to flush waste, urea and creatinine start backing up in your bloodstream like sewage with nowhere to drain. Your brain notices before you do. Cerebral tissue is nearly 75% water, and as blood volume drops, less oxygen reaches your neurons. Cerebral ischemia is the clinical term. Translate it. Your brain starving of blood until the lights start flickering. Headaches intensify. Focus fractures into fragments. Simple math becomes impossible. Your judgment, the very tool you need to find shade or ration remaining fluid, degrades in real time. 18 hours in, your skin loses elasticity. Pinch the back of your hand, and the fold stays tented instead of snapping back. A bedside test doctors still use to gauge dehydration severity. Your eyes sink into their sockets as the fluid cushioning them evaporates into the deficit. Your lips crack and split. Capillaries near the surface, starved of the plasma that once kept tissue supple. What happens to a phone battery left in that same desert heat? Lithium-ion cells lose capacity rapidly above 104 degrees Fahrenheit as the electrolyte inside breaks down chemically, permanently shrinking how much charge it can hold. Your body runs a similar heat damage clock, except the electrolytes breaking down are the ones keeping your heart beating on rhythm. 24 hours without water, and your blood pressure starts dropping. Less fluid volume means less pressure pushing blood through your arteries. Your heart compensates by beating faster and harder, but there's a ceiling. Eventually, cardiac output can't keep pace with the body's oxygen demand. This is the human reality behind the data. A creeping vertigo, the horizon tilting sideways, your own pulse suddenly audible in your ears like a countdown clock you can't silence. Muscle cramps arrive next, sudden and violent, as electrolyte imbalances scramble the electrical signals, telling your muscle fibers when to contract and release. Sodium and potassium, the 2 ions responsible for every muscle twitch in your body, are critically depleted. Your calves seize mid-stride. Your hands curl involuntarily. 36 hours marks the shift into severe hypovolemic shock. Blood volume has dropped enough that your circulatory system prioritizes your brain and heart over everything else, shutting blood flow to your extremities. Fingers and toes go cold and numb even in desert heat, your own vascular system sacrificing the periphery to keep the core alive. Kidney failure typically begins here. Without adequate blood flow, kidney tissue starts dying, nephrons shutting down one by one, each loss permanent. Your body's filtration system, the one that's cleaned every liter of your blood thousands of times over your lifetime, begins failing exactly when you need it most. Consciousness starts slipping around hour 48. Delirium sets in, a direct consequence of that starved brain tissue, misfiring under critical fluid loss. Some victims report vivid hallucinations, mirages more convincing than the ones caused by heat shimmer alone, because dehydrated brain tissue distorts perception at a neurological level, not just an optical one. Without intervention, cardiovascular collapse follows within the next 12 to 24 hours, blood pressure dropping too low to perfuse vital organs. The heart, still trying to compensate with an elevated rate, eventually can't generate enough force to push the thickened, mineral-starved blood through the system. Multiple organ failure cascades from there, kidneys first, then liver, then the brain itself losing the oxygen fight it's been fighting since hour 6. Total time from healthy hydration to fatal collapse in extreme desert heat. As little as 3 days, sometimes less, depending on temperature, exertion, and starting hydration levels.